everybody, welcome to another episode of Discovering the Douds Difference. I'm here today with Heather and with Andre, and the three of us are just off of a trip out to Minnesota to our Douds Supreme Cabinet Company. We went out there for a factory tour, and then we attended a 3-day boot camp to learn all the nuts and bolts about that company, and we're just really excited to partner up with them and get moving on this kitchen and cabinet business. So we just thought we'd tell you a little bit about what we've learned out there and things that we learned about color trends and different things like that. So that's what we're here today to talk about. So Andre had to take the brunt of most of the training because a lot of it was computer based, and that's way over my head. So she was the one that was doing a lot of the computer training, and so we can just talk a little bit about what all we learned out there first, and then we'll tell you just something about some of the latest trends in the kitchen cabinet industry.
I think the main thing that struck me about our whole experience was the factory tour. It was so interesting to see the process from the raw wood to the creation of the cabinet, the doors, the finishing, the paint. Everything was done from start to finish right before our eyes. And that to me was really a neat experience. It was also interesting when you think of a factory tour, you often think of it being completely automated and not really having a lot of people involved in it. Mm-hmm. And it was so interesting to see just like how many different people are involved in the creation of just one cabinet. So that I thought it was neat to see the people behind the cabinets and how they're made.
And really a lot of skill down to just picking pieces of wood to make it the most efficient use of a slab piece of wood, down to applications of finishing. They all have their niches in that factory that are, really unique talents.
Yeah, there was that one woman who is literally in charge of doing all the distressing, all the different wormholes or nail holes, anything that goes on. She has a hammer that pounds different parts of it, puts chains on it, and it really makes turns the wood into what you see in the finished product. And that's her job to do day in, day out. And I think it just really struck me the quality of the cabinetry that we are carrying is just top notch.
Yeah, I think it's a really good fit from a company standpoint, the Douds Supreme company with us, that the quality that we would expect and that our customers expect is in that cabinetry for sure. And I think, one of the big things really interesting too were all the different finish options and the durability of the finishes that are on these cabinets. There's really something to be said for factory finished cabinets.
And then we also got to tour the actual room where they do custom finishes. So if you have a certain piece of furniture and you'd like your cabinets to match that, you can send in a sample and they will do a custom stain match program. They also do a custom paint color match program, and we saw the people in that room creating those stains and paints right there, and then they hold those paints and stains for the customer for future use if need. And then the other thing that was just interesting is how you've got all the different pieces of the factory, and then you've got the area where they do the priming and the painting and the staining, and that's all completely closed off from the rest of the factory, so that there's absolutely no dust or any kind of debris that would get into that while they are applying those finishes on there. So that's just another example of how much attention to detail that this company has. The other thing is that just the customer service that was evident when we were there as well. It's just that every single person we met was so accommodating and so friendly and so helpful. So
yeah, and it seemed like they had been there for years. Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of turnover. It really kind of takes over the town or the area where they were located, and it was just really interesting to see.
And then because everything is, it is a semi-custom company and everything is created right there, we learned a lot about the different options that we have to create specific looks that are trending today. They are now offering a shiplap because that is a very popular trend, and some of the rustic wood finishes that you see today, they have created a certain line that includes that type of a look.
That one, the weathered finishes, they wouldn't even let us in that area. It's something that is
Top secret.
top secret, and they don't even let anybody in there to see what the process is of those really weathered, those weathered cabinets. So yeah, I think all of that was very, very interesting to see. And so to talk a little bit about the trends, one of the other fun things that we got to do the very last day, they took us to what would be considered their main showroom out there, and it was just a store as big as our store, just filled with all different kinds of cabinetry. So that was really fun to see all different colors and styles and everything. But they kind of walked us through an exercise at that point too, to just tell us what is trending in the cabinet world. So we can talk a little bit about that right now too, colors and styles and things like that.
One of the other things that we learned a little more about was that Dura Supreme has two different lines within Dura Supreme. There is the regular line called Crestwood, which is kind of more traditional, that you can do contemporary finishes to that as well. But then there's also Bria, which is a frameless cabinet, and you can really get some more contemporary finishes in terms of they do acrylics, foils, in terms of the finish, but also the way that the door style is. It's a little more of a flat panel door style. And so, it was interesting to see some of the ways that they mixed both of those lines together, whether it's on an island, maybe doing something a little more contemporary, and then on the perimeter cabinets doing something that is maybe not so contemporary, and just how they mix those different finishes in terms of the colors or textures or, that kind of thing.
I think white continues to be popular, but it seems like it's trending towards a warmer white or incorporating colors with white. The big colors seem to be navy, blues, greens, but the grays are still very popular.
But even more warmer,
warm grays rather than
mixing,
cool
grays.
with
Browns. Yeah, a lot of browns and the grays. So
Yeah.
that was
The thing with Dura Supreme's regular line is they even offer a ton of different colors of whites that wouldn't necessarily be custom, and that just shows that some are a cooler white, some are a warmer white, some tend gray, but it all kind of, you can find finishes that all work together to create the look that you'd like, whether it be warm or cool.
And they said even in those, the colors, like the greens are going to be deeper colors again, deeper greens, deeper navy blues. So instead of being more on the pastel side of the color wheel, they're going to go into deeper shades. So that's kind of what they're predicting to be trending here in the future. And the other thing too about the finishes that they just announced whenever we were out there was they'll always color match with Sherwin-Williams, any color in that line, but now they've just introduced Benjamin Moore too, which gives a ton of options. And we work with Benjamin Moore paints a lot here, so I think that'll be a good marriage for them too, as far as colors.
I think the other trend they talked about too is how using more textures, whether it's in the tile or the finishes of the cabinet. Some of the different finishes have a little more texture, either in the wood grain or the paint or the foils. wallpaper, maybe incorporating texture there. Just trying to, even though you might have everything that's all white, just incorporating some more texture to make things kind of pop here and there is another trend that we talked about. Lighting, big oversized lighting was another thing that they mentioned, on an island instead of the small little pendants, really some oversized lights. It's almost like art in the kitchen or a bath. And, we saw some really neat examples of those things as well.
And then they said too, as far as fixtures, the brass is coming on strong again. It's all been kind of stainless steel or brushed bronze finish, and now that's all moving back to an antique kind of brass finish too.
I think too they're just mixing the metals is popular, so incorporating them all.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to match anymore. Your faucet can be different than your knobs and pulls and lighting and just seeing ways that designers are incorporating that.
Yeah, I think it's nice that being involved in the kitchen and bath, and then also doing the furniture and the flooring and the whole, it really allows us to sort of get in a home and do the full package. So
yeah, that's been the nice thing about this addition, adding this kitchen and bath design center is, we really now are a full service store. I don't think there's really anything on the interior that we can't do. We've always done tile and hardwood and laminate floors, and we've done a lot of kitchens and a lot of bathrooms in that respect, but just we're never able to offer the cabinetry and the sinks and the faucets. And so now we're pretty much a one-stop shop, and just wanted everybody to know that this division for us is up and running, and we're busy and keeping Andre very very busy all the time, and some of it's kind of learn as we go, but she's done a great job of keeping the ball rolling here. And we actually just did our first Bria kitchen, so our first frameless kitchen, which is fun. It's definitely a more contemporary styles, so it's just the same as the furniture. Anytime you get to work with just different styles and stuff, it's just fun to be creative in that respect. So the biggest thing I think that we've learned getting into this process, and what we've learned out there is it is a very long process with these designs and getting them on paper and then making them become reality, and we're here every step of the way. We can help pick sinks, we can pick faucets, we can pick lighting, we can help pick tiles. So that's what we're here to do for you. So if you have a project coming up, I guess the message is it's never too soon to start, is really what we've learned. So bring your plans in or give us a call and we can come out and take a look, and we'd be happy to help you get going.